Hey food fans, welcome back to Then We Eat. This week we'll be doing smoked salmon. So in our house, we have a little problem with salmon. We have one person that doesn't like it, one person that likes it only smoked, and one person that loves it no matter where it comes from. So in this case, we're going to cover two people anyway, and we're going to smoke a salmon. It's a really quick smoking process, but you do have to start the day before. So the first thing we're going to do is we can find a nice piece of salmon. This one's absolutely beautiful. It's better if the skin is on the salmon, but it's not necessary. If the skin is on the salmon, then you want to make sure to put the skin side down when you're marinating it. So this is a little long for our container, so I'm just going to cut this off and then we'll flip it back in. So just give me a second. Okay, so once you've got your fish in the container, then what we're going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of maple syrup. There's not really a set amount, you just want enough that you're kind of covering the whole piece of salmon. So we'll just put a little on, and then we'll just kind of give it a little bit of a... So you don't want a ton, but you do want enough just to give it a little bit of sweetness, and it will caramelize on the outside edges while it's being smoked in the smoker. So, okay, so for this particular piece of salmon that we have here, I'm going to start with a kilo of Demerara sugar and about a half to a third of a cup of salt, and we'll see if that'll cover everything. If it will, we're good to go. If not, we'll have to get another mixture. All right, what I've done, I've put the sugar and the salt in the lid of the container. I'll just mix it up and then we'll put it on top. In the process that we're doing here, the one thing is don't short on the salt, because the salt is going to draw some of the moisture out of the fish. So if you don't add enough salt, then the process isn't going to work quite exactly the same as it should. So the reverse of it is that I wouldn't go over a cup of salt if you happen to have like a ginormous piece of salmon. So just keep it in mind. So next thing, we're just going to cover the salmon, and you want about, I'd say maybe about a half an inch of sugar on the fish, and if they're overlapping a bit, just pick it up, pack it underneath, and then just put it down, and you can put some more on the top. So it looks like I'm going to have loads of sugar here. All right, so that looks about good. Lovely. Wash my hands again. Okay, so that's the first step on the salmon. We're going to put a lid on it, put it in the fridge overnight, and when we'll come back in the morning, we'll do the next steps. One of the things we've got to do is dry it, so we'll show you how to do that in the morning, and then we'll smoke it for a couple of hours. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, good morning. Welcome back to Then We Eat. Our salmon's been in the fridge all night, and it's ready to be rinsed, and then we'll dry it. So as you can see, there's a fair amount of moisture has come off the salmon, which is what you're looking for. If you leave it too long, I shouldn't say too long, if you leave it longer, it will draw more of the moisture out and you get a more chewy salmon. We tend to leave it about overnight, which will give you a little bit of candied salmon around the outside edges, but the main block of the salmon still has the texture of a cooked salmon. So anyway, the first thing we got to do is we've got to wash off all of the salt and the sugar that's on here. So I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so once the salmon has been rinsed, you can see it looks like this. The edges you'll find are starting to get a little crusty. You want to be a little careful, especially when there's no skin on it when you're washing it, because it can tear fairly easy. So anyway, wash off most of the sugar, the salt. If you don't get it all, it's not a big deal. The maple syrup did its job overnight. It actually ends up absorbing into the meat, so it's done its job. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to put a fan on it. It's going to put just a slight skin over all of the salmon before we put it on the smoker. So it'll be about an hour to get it to skin over. So, and we'll probably turn it a couple of times just to make sure we get everything. Again, if there was a skin on it, I wouldn't worry about the other side, but because there's not, I probably flip it partway through. So we'll see you in about an hour. All right, so we've been, actually it was about an hour and a half. It's a little humid here, so it took a little longer to get the skin on the salmon, but if you can kind of see, you can just kind of see a difference in the color, the shine is kind of gone. This is what you're looking for. It's just a very thin skin that kind of forms over the outside of the salmon. It kind of, I'm not absolutely certain what the full purpose is, but I can tell you that it does make a difference when you're smoking the salmon. It just gives it a little different texture. Okay, so once you've got this done, then we're going to put it on the smoker, obviously. We've got our smoker today. It's got some apple chips in it. Another really good option is sugar maple. It's a little bit harder to find, but it complements the maple syrup really well. But we're going with apple, it'll be good. So we're going to just go ahead, put it out on the smoker, and it'll be probably 2 to 3 hours. So let's head out to the smoker and get this fish on the go. All right, so we're back. It took about 2 hours. Our smoker was a little bit hot at the beginning, so it took about 2 hours. As you can see, it looks perfectly smoked. On the thicker pieces, you can see that there's still lots of juice and give. So you've still got a really nice piece of salmon. And then if you look along the edges here, you can see that it's candied up a fair amount. So you can see it's still nice and flaky, tender, and bloody hot. And it actually is a little bit sticky still because of the sugar that we added last night. So let's give it a little taste, see what it's like. Salmon is perfectly cooked. You do get just a little bit of the maple flavor and the smoke on it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. You can't go wrong with smoked salmon anywhere. So remember, if you like this video, click the like button, share with all your buddies, and click the notification bell to know when we're releasing a new video. And remember, first we cook, then we eat. So good.